Привет, I'm Chuck Olinik, a Ukrainian-American baptized with the name Yaroslav, and I go by that name in the Society for Creative Anachronism as Yaroslav the Persistent, or everybody calls me Yari. I've been doing research on Slavic folklore and mythology and putting together videos and posting them on my YouTube channel because I believe knowledge ought to be free. But then I guess that's a hang-on from me having been a teacher for 36 years. So, I just did a video on Slavic Halloween, or the Night of Veles. And there was a mention of masks there, and there was a mention of masks in another Slavic celebration. So, guess what? This video is about masks. So this all started off as research on Slavic winter celebrations. Velyanok, Great Night, or Kolyada, a combination of Carnival and Halloween, which can happen anywhere from like Christmas or the winter solstice to the end of February. So during that celebration, during Kolyada, young men known as Koladari or Vukari, they would dress in long coats of black sheep's wool, and they'd put on these masks, and they'd go roaming about the villages in groups, and they would make a lot of noise and sing Koledo songs, and basically they would give the idea that through the songs that they had traveled a long way and that they were all wet and muddy, and that was supposed to be an allusion to the wet underworld of Veles, from which they'd come as ghosts or the dead. The master of the house would invite them in warmly and present them with gifts. So I reasoned, okay, that's the Yule thing, but the Slavs are kind of making it like Halloween. Okay, then I found out about the Night of Veles, which happens through the night of October 31st through November 1st, or during the festival of the grandfathers of autumn. And I guess those masks that were mentioned with regard to both celebrations probably were doing double duty. I'm going to admit this is guesswork about these masks that are called Krabowski. It's been suggested that the Krabowski were used in ancient Slavic rituals, but their roles or functions, those are still debated. Were they worn to celebrate the dead? Did the Krabowski serve a role in contact with the other world and provide protection from supernatural forces? The word Krabozhka may come from the Czech word, which is pretty much identical, and that means mask or demon. An earlier meaning might imply basket. It is believed that masks could be representing ancestors or spirits or deities, and that they're acting as a mediator in contacts with the world of the dead. There were also speculations that I came across that masks could have been, or could have allowed the participants of rituals to take the form of ancestral spirits, which might have given the ritual a deeper mystical dimension. Some believe that you needed protection in dealing with the spirits that were coming from the underworld, because they might decide they like your company enough, they're going to lead you through that door into the underworld. And so the mask might serve as some sort of protection. Maybe the mask might prevent the living from being recognized. Sort of like during the Black Death, going through Europe, and you would have people dressing up like death, and they'd be acting all spooky in the streets, so that death is supposed to get faked out. So you go, oh yeah, I got him, I got Fred. All right. But remember, this is speculation. Some of this comes from modern practitioners who are trying to recreate ancient faiths and observe ancient celebrations, and I tend to look at a lot of that stuff as suspect rather than gospel, although they'd like to see it as gospel. The thing is, though, these masks exist. A lot of the important information about the ritual masks of the Slavs comes from excavations that were carried out in Ostrowiec, in Opole, which I believe is in Poland, and that was done in the 50s and 60s. 2 wooden masks dating back to the 11th and 12th centuries were discovered there. The first mask, which is made of pine, was about 13.5 inches long, and it has holes that have been interpreted as eye sockets and a mouth. And there's traces of red paint that were visible on the surface that suggest that this was originally painted. The second mask was a bit smaller, like 9 inches long, and it was made of birch wood, and it also has very similar holes, looking like eyes and a mouth. Okay, so some things were found, and they have 3 holes in them. Okay, so there's still no clear evidence that these masks were associated with funeral rites. For instance, there weren't any holes evident for attaching the mask to the face, or some other distinctive features. For all we know, there could have been a more practical application. What we might eagerly be identifying as eye holes and a mouth might be where the legs of a stool were fastened. That doesn't really matter to me. I have birch bark left over from a couple of previous projects that I did about Slavic stuff. There's a video someplace on the channel if you want to find it. That stuff isn't particularly thick, so obviously that stool thing ain't gonna work. All right, but I can go into the garage and see if I can make a mask, and I'm gonna go do that right now. Okay, I have my official practical anthropology archaeology shirt, all right, or history teacher shirt. So here we got a problem. Okay, I've been saving this birch bark since my project that I did in August. And hey, I've managed to recreate writing on birch bark like they did in Novgorod in the Middle Ages. There's a little bit of a problem. Okay, so this stuff's got a natural curve to it, and that's great. This is the side I'm going to have to put against my face, and I'm not doing that. I'm going to have to clean this up first. Okay, I just used a wire wheel brush, and that looks a little cleaner. It looks like something I can deal with. But now I got to figure out where I'm going to put the eye holes and the mouth. And since there seems to be a little bit of a hole here already, that looks like a good spot for an eye hole. And right down here, there's a bit of a ripple. That looks like a good spot for a mouth. So we'll see which kind of a face I put on here. I gotta draw it on first. Okay. Eye holes done, and I just use leather shears because they work. We have a mouth. Okay, I did not choose to put teeth in there or anything because I just wanted to make it simple. I also saw in a number of the originals, it was just basically a big jagged opening. Okay, I trimmed off a bit of excess. The Bart Simpson effect. Now let's see if I need to find a way to attach these. Okay, there we go for a rough draft. One Slavic ritual mask. So, I hope you stick around and watch more of the videos. Do побачення and happy Halloween.